Hello. So I've had an Ask Me Anything question from Steve, and I'm going to read out the question and then answer his question. So it says, Dear Lindsay, I have the opportunity to apply for a promotion at work. Whilst one part of me knows I should apply for it, I'm feeling so anxious about it, it's holding me back. I'm worried I'll stuff up the interview or won't do well and won't be offered this new role. I really want this new job, but feel paralysed when I think about applying for it. What can you suggest to help? So, Steve, thank you so much for sending in your question. And the first thing that we want to have a look at here is to see how much all of this is future thinking, which is obviously a flavor, it's a function of being anxious and worried about something. Invariably is that it's all about thinking in the future, worrying what might happen in the future. So, and all of this is not what's happening here and now. It's all what if thinking. What if I stuff it up? What if I'm not worried about what if I'm not offered the job? What if I don't do well? And any time that we notice that what if thinking, that is something that in my experience now, I just totally ignore that, because it is just the function of a mind, function of your brain, trying to help you out and trying to keep you safe. Because in this situation, applying for the job and then possibly not getting it is looking like a threat in some way. Now, obviously, it isn't really a threat. It would be a disappointment, maybe, yes, 100%. But to your brain, it's just looking like it's a real threat to your self-esteem or to your survival in some way. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. So what we want to see is it's just your brain innocently spitting out all of this what if thinking that's totally based in the future. So your brain is trying to be a crystal ball. It's trying to look into the future, and it's trying to prevent or, trying to prevent you from any feelings of disappointment or feeling rubbish about yourself or feeling let down or like you're letting other people down. So that's the first thing, just to notice all of the what ifing that your brain is doing. None of it means it's going to come true, because as far as I can see, our brains are not crystal balls. They do not have the capacity to see into the future and to predict the future. So all of that what if thinking, what if you can just safely ignore that, let that go. Know that your brain is probably going to still talk to you in this way, but you don't have to pay attention to it, because your brain is not able to predict what the outcome of this application for the job is going to be. So that's the first little bit. The biggest bit of it really is to really understand, certainly this is something that has been so helpful for me personally and in my work, is seeing that the experience of anxiety being present, because it's just your brain trying to keep you safe, isn't an indication of what you should or shouldn't do. So the experience of anxious thinking isn't telling you, don't do it. Don't apply for the job, because there's every possibility that probably you're not going to get it and you're going to look like a fool and you're probably going to stuff it up in some way. So all of that thinking that's occurring does not mean don't do it. That it isn't indicative of the action that you should or shouldn't take. The only thing that all of that what-ifing and the anxious thinking, worried thinking is indicating to you is that, I'm just going to get my prop, is that your brain is shook up. Your mind is shook up. There's a lot of overthinking about this going on, okay? It's just telling you you're thinking loads about this. There's loads of quick thinking that isn't the truth going on. When we know when the snow globe in our mind is shaken up, if we can just gently start seeing that our mind is shaken up about this, that all of the snowflakes rushing around doesn't mean don't do it. It just means step back. It just means, oh, you're caught up in your mind. Let it settle. And then the decision about whether to apply or not, which I think you already know, because you've said part of you knows that you want to apply. So that's the clear part in this. This is the bit that's already settled. And all of the anxious thinking is like the snowflakes just being shaken up. So all we need to do is just, as much as you can, just gently keep looking away from all of that so that your mind settles. And you know that you want to apply for it, so you just want to go ahead and apply for it. The other piece of it that I think is really important in these type of questions and in this sort of situation is that what if there, so you can ask yourself the question, what am I believing is at stake here? Or another way to put it is, what if there's nothing at stake here? So invariably, when we're in life and we're in the situation where we've got the potential to put ourselves forward for something and to either get it or not, so to get the new job or not get the new job, or, if we're looking for, a new partner, are they going to like us? Are they not going to like us? Are we going to get the new house? Are we not going to get the new house? Any time that we're in life and there's an outcome that might go one way or the other, again, just to protect us, but invariably our brain, our mind makes up a story about what it means if we don't get that thing. So I would imagine that your mind, in answering that question, what is at stake here, is the answer to that is, well, it's going to mean I'm not good enough. Other people are going to know that I went for it and I didn't get it, and they're going to think that I'm maybe not very good at my job, or my family are going to be let down, or I'm going to feel rubbish about myself in some way. So that's all of the stories that the mind is making up about what is at stake here. And what if none of that is true? What if none of whatever the answer to that question is that your brain tells you, your mind tells you, is actually the truth? What if there is nothing at stake here? What if life has presented you with the opportunity to apply for a job? You've got a load of anxious thinking about it, but because you know you don't need to pay attention to all of that, you apply anyway. Life is presenting it to you and you apply. You go through the process. It's either a yes or it's either a no. And what if there is nothing at stake in that? Like your happiness, it might seem like it's going to increase if you get it, but what if your happiness isn't up for grabs here? What if your self-worth and your self-esteem and your worthiness isn't up for grabs here? So what I mean by that is, what if getting this job or not getting this job has absolutely nothing to do with you as a person? It's just something that's occurring. It's a yes or it's a no. It's not right now, or wasn't right, or yes, yay, you've got it. So it's just seeing if you can see through all of the stories of what is at stake that your mind will tell you is at stake. And I know that I find that when I question that within myself, I often find that a lot of that will just drop away, and then I'm just freer. My mind still might have a little chat about it, but invariably I'm freer just to move forward with what I know I want. And knowing that if you don't get it and you feel disappointed, that's okay too. You can let yourself feel all that disappointment. You can let all of that emotion be there. What if it doesn't mean anything about you? What if it doesn't change you as a person? Because I think that's really what often holds us back, is because we believe it means something about us. And quite frankly, quite simply rather, I don't think it does. And wrapped up in that will also be probably what your mind is making up about failure and what your mind is making up about success. So these are both just concepts that we as human beings subscribe to, and it's a word that we have, but it's all really made up what failure and success is, because what looks like failure and success to me will look very different to you, Steve, because it's all to do with our own reality, our own thinking, our own perception. So I'll just give you a quick example of that. For years, it used to look like me having been divorced. Like, to me, it looked like it was a failure. Now, with hindsight, with my perception changing, with all sorts of things changing in my life, I don't view that divorce as a failure. There was a time that looked very real, and it wasn't real. It was just a made up story, something that I was choosing to believe. And now I see it very differently. That doesn't look like a failure at all, because it's all just made up. So I hope this has been helpful, Steve. Do let me know. And yeah, and just, you might want to listen a couple of times, or indeed, if anyone else, other people who are listening to this, if you've got something that you're, struggling with, should I do this? I'm really worried about doing this. It's just, so I think for me to now just pull out the 2 points. One, the anxiety doesn't mean do something or not do something. It's just a sped up, shaken up snow globe, lots of overthinking. And the other really important thing is what do I believe is at stake here? And what if there's nothing at stake? Okay, thank you so much. And if you would like to send me and ask me anything question, you can email me anytime and ask, or pop it in the comments below, and I will very happily record a video for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Please sign up for my newsletter. And if you want to explore working one-to-one, check out my coaching programs. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.